one sentence that we were able to pick up the frustration that's down there. How do you even begin? He's back now. Let's see if we've got a little better signal. Jeff?
John, I think you're the one who needs to reboot. So I'll take it from here. All right, guys. Yeah, I just got back from the clubhouse. Actually, a busy time down there. There are a lot of family members running around, and so players were quick to get out of the clubhouse, and I can't blame them. But you know, I don't know if you guys are watching the broadcast or not, but you saw Bruce Bochy kind of about, yeah, you know, that's just baseball. Merrill Kelly though was terrific. He actually summarized everything exactly as it's happened. The team was very, very good. They were getting production from the young guys that you probably wouldn't expect, and he did say, you know, no offense to them, but you kind of had to expect that there would be some fall off. Now, 7 straight games worth of fall off? No. Are the young guys solely responsible? No. I would think that you could look at Merrill Kelly, at Jacob deGrom, at the starting pitching, that series at Houston. I've got his quote right here. He said that I can't even read my own handwriting. Anyway, he recognized that the Houston series was make or break. They all did, and it broke them. And that's not to say that they haven't been trying out there, but they knew they were finished after that. They still got 6 to go. They need to win 3 games to ensure a 500 season, and I'm not sure they're going to get there. We'll see what happens. Got to see what happens with the other races. Looks like the Guardians are going to be in it till the very end, and that's the Rangers' final opponent, 3 at Cleveland next weekend. They have that big series coming up against the Tigers, which could, really, you could see some celebrating when the Rangers are at Jacob Field. It's just a heck of a situation to be in, and one that I'm sure that none of us expected would happen, at least not like this. You know, even when this stuff was going well, it just wasn't quite right. You know, you're like, man, they're winning these games with Michael Hellman, who started the year not with the Rangers. They're his third organization. You get to the point with Cody Freeman, who was fabulous at AAA. Rangers minor league player of the year, right? 19 home runs, which was the outright team lead until just yesterday when Justin Foscue hit his 19th. Round Rock has one more game right now, so we'll see how that goes. But that tells you the kind of year Cody Freeman was having. And he drove in a run today, and he's been great, right? But he's still, teams, as Merrill Kelly said today, the book gets out on you. And so when the book gets out, you're in trouble. And the other teams made the adjustments. They've kind of neutralized these young guys that were going so well. And that's left the Rangers kind of took their momentum away, took their mojo away. These guys are giving all the energy. And we can go back and now start to ask, hey, what's going on with the energy? Why is it like this? And you can look around the clubhouse and you can see who's on the injured list, who's still hurt, trying to come back. And now that this is, the end, I think the Rangers, if they can't be officially eliminated tonight, it'll happen tomorrow or on Tuesday. Now that they are where they are, do they start telling Marcus Semien, just go ahead and stop trying this comeback? Do they tell Corey Seager, take it easy, enjoy the rest of the year? We'll see you in February. What do you do with Jacob deGrom? The Rangers haven't announced their starters for the next series against the Twins. His day is Tuesday. Is Jacob deGrom going to make that start? So there's a lot now to ask going into this last week. Does Adolis Garcia play again? If he doesn't, does he ever play again for the Rangers? So there's some things coming up that we can dive into here on the next segment. It looks like John's his audio difficulties are going to prevent him from rejoining the show. So guess what? Looks like he got me for the rest of the way. And it's going to be fantastic. You want to hear some badass ad reads? I'm going to give them to you. We're going to start with the first set of ad reads right after this. All right, here we go with, I got to find it. With game time, and the NFL is now in full swing. Rangers, they only have 3 more home games. You can go to game time if you want to come out to those games. And the Rangers always do giveaways and fun stuff, so maybe you can come out here and score you an autographed baseball or something. But with game time, the app gives the advantage back to the fans. Amazing ticket prices can be unlocked and experiences in a few taps. It's all in pricing. You get to view from your seat that you're going to be purchasing. It's so easy to use. Even I can use it. Even John Radigan can use it, and he has. And once you do use it, you get updated from Nicole every week about things that are coming up. It's not just sports; it's all kind of events. But for our purposes, it is sports, and specifically, it's the NFL. Cowboys are playing right now in Chicago. Apparently, not playing well, from what I understand. But they're going to be coming home. Jerry World's going to be buzzing. People want to go to Cowboys games, so go download that Game Time app. If you enter the code DLLS, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. And then, with all that extra money you're going to be saving, Monarch Money is glad to help you. And they're designed to help your life improve. We're all making money, hopefully. We all have jobs. It's budgeting and it's saving, which is so important for retirement. I'm approaching it. I'm not there yet. I've got a while to go still, but I've been saving for retirement since I was 22, and Monarch will help you. You haven't done that, but they'll help you with the day-to-day stuff. When your car breaks down, how are you going to pay for it? If you want to go on vacation, how are you going to pay for it? When the kids start going to college, how are you going to pay for it? Monarch is going to help you. It's not just another app, a finance app. It's a tool that real professionals and experts love. It's named the best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal. They know something about money there in the Wall Street Journal. And you don't want this money thing to come between your spouse. You want to have a fun life, and you want to do it without having to wonder if you have the money to do it. So go to monarchmoney.com. 50% off your first year at Monarch Money when you use the code DLLS. Yeah, I like to see John pull off that ad read right there. All right, so we are back, and we're down to 6 games. The Rangers, if you missed it, they lost 4-2 today, 7 straight losses. I don't know if it's shocking, but considering how well they were playing, and then to suddenly have it flipped, a little drastic. Not being able to meet the Marlins at home in either 3 games, kind of surprising. Not winning a game against the Astros with all that was on the line, surprising and disappointing. So anyway, we're gearing up for the last week here. Going to have the fighting Minnesota Twins, who are terrible. They traded away all their good guys at the trade deadline. Some of their mediocre guys. The Rangers got Danny Coulomb, who was a good guy, is a good guy, lives in Richardson, probably wants to come back to the Rangers next year. But what are you going to get with the Twins? Well, hopefully, you're not going to get a lot of offense. They aren't scoring any runs against the Guardians this weekend, and they're not pitching it very well. They just got swept in a doubleheader, for crying out loud. Had less than I think I saw something like 6 hits combined. Maybe I'm wrong. But first up's the day off tomorrow, and I'm going to guess that a lot of discussion is going to take place about the things we were talking about there at the end of the last segment. Does Marcus Semien need to play again? No. Does Corey Seager need to play again? No. Does Jacob deGrom need to start again? No. Now, will they? Semien, the Rangers have never had an easy time telling him no when it comes to his playing time. He's a professional, consummate professional. He's worked hard to get back. He's been a quick healer, it looks like. I think the key with Marcus is if if the Rangers can be assured that the Liz Frank thing that's in your foot is not in jeopardy of being damaged anymore, then they might let Marcus play. I think it'd be good for him, for his mentality going into the offseason, and just to show that yeah, he can come back and he can persevere. But if that Liz Frank thing's at all even remotely a possibility, then I don't think they do. That the Liz Frank injury, basketball players have been felled by it. It's not just a couple months. It's a long-term injury that could cost Marcus a good deal of the season. Now, he would have the offseason to start the recovery process, but even then, I don't think he'd be ready for opening day. So we'll see about that one. That's an interesting one. Corey Seager. Last we spoke to him in Houston, said he absolutely wants to play again before the year is up. However, I believe that if the Rangers were to say, Corey, why do we not push this? He might go ahead and say, you know what, you're right. Although I'll say this, he missed the end of last season hurt, and I don't think he enjoyed that. And I think that he hears what we all hear about him not being an emotional guy or anything like that. He's got it in him, and I think he cares deeply and wants to play the game. So we'll see about that one. Once the appendix is out, I don't think there's any further damage you can do. It's a matter of pain tolerance. As long as the sutures are healed, and they apparently are because he's been swinging the bat, it wouldn't be bad to see him. And it might do him some good. It might do him some good with his teammates if they were to see him come back and play. Not that he needs to do anymore. They know what a great player he is. He's the best player on the team. He's coming back next year. Needs to conquer the hamstring stuff. And, I don't know if you can do anything to conquer appendicitis. Now that it's gone, it's not going to recur. But it just seems like some weird things, like 2 sports hernias in within a 12-month period happened to Corey Seager. So we'll see about that one. Adolis Garcia, we'll go to him next. The quad, you can tell when he plays in the outfield, he's just not himself. He's hobbling around out there like you or I would. I thought the Friday night, the ball that was hit into that triangle in front of the Rangers dugout, that I don't even think he got not the dugout, the bullpen in right center. I'm not even sure he got a glove on it. He reached up, he thought he had gotten there, but I think he had given it all he could. And so the reach was the last thing. He ended up not being able to come up with the ball. And Bruce Bochy even said that on his throws, Garcia's throws have been affected by the quad. It just hasn't been the same. So apparently Bochy and Adolis spoke after the game last night. And I think basically Bochy laid things out kind of realistically. I think today's day off plus tomorrow's team off day will give our Adolis an opportunity to play Tuesday. But if he's not healthy, they're not going to play him. They're going to use him off the bench. And apparently Adolis understands his predicament. He's the one who feels like crap. So I don't know that we're going to see Adolis start again. Maybe you'll see him pinch hit late in a situation where the Rangers could, one swing of the bat, maybe get something out of him. And if he doesn't play, are we done with Adolis Garcia? He's going into his last arbitration year. Probably would make somewhere around 12 to 14 million in arbitration next year. His defense is terrific. He's got a chance to win another Gold Glove this off season. Just what he's able to do out there, it's been really, really good this year. But can the Rangers do better? Can they find a better value at let's say 13.5 million? Let's just throw it out there, 13.5 million. Can they find a better option in right field? I don't know if they can, honestly, but with the potential that Adolis has, just we haven't seen it for 2 years. 23 was his career year, and then he went to the postseason, had a dream postseason until he was injured, and then suddenly the last 2 years he's just completely fallen off the map. He's just not a good hitter. He made the changes coming into this season, and they didn't they didn't work out. Nothing has worked out for him. There was a little surge there in June. He was a pretty good player for about a month or 6 weeks going into the All-Star break, about the same time that Marcus Semien had his surge. And so, can the Rangers do better? I think they're going to look really far and wide to see if they can. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Adolis isn't back. And then that brings us to Jacob deGrom, who is at 29 starts. And if you guys remember at FanFest, we were talking, how many starts do you think you'll make this year? 22, 25? He said 30. He wanted to start 30. He is on the cusp. 29 starts. But these last few, you can tell that Jacob deGrom is tired. Yes, he's still throwing hard. The slider, when it's right, is a devastating pitch. Problem is, it hasn't been consistent enough. His location hasn't been good enough. And when he misses his spots, like he did the other night in Houston, the ball's getting tattooed. And I'm sure it drives him crazy. His ERA, I think, is 3.01. I'm willing to bet that Jacob deGrom would like a chance to get that back under 3. I don't know. I haven't asked him about that. But maybe they give him this one start because he is in line to start the season finale too. And at that point, there's really not going to be a reason to start him. Let's say he gets his 30 on Tuesday. Maybe they say you've got 4 innings or 5 innings to do this, and then it's we're putting you in bubble wrap until next spring. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way it went. And then you can say, well, what are they going to do with that rotation spot? Well, they've got Tyler Mahle in the rotation now. They still have Jake Latz. They still have Patrick Corbin. They still have Merrill Kelly, Jack Leiter. They still have Kumar Rocker. And that's an interesting one because if you go ahead and look at him, he returned on Thursday night. He hadn't pitched since August the 6th or 7th for Round Rock. His last start with the Rangers was the day before the trade deadline. And so when they made the moves, they had to go ahead and clear a roster spot. And he didn't pitch well in Seattle. So it was time for him to go back to the minors. Well, apparently that didn't go well. He gave up like 5 runs at Albuquerque, which isn't the biggest sin in the world. But the Rangers saw something they didn't like. They took him out of action. They basically did the Jack Leiter in 2023. They took Kumar Rocker off the field, had him work on his mechanics, his delivery. Apparently, I wrote a story about it in Houston. Apparently, the changes aren't noticeable to common folk like me. They're very subtle, but apparently they're going to help with command and whatnot. The results in Sacramento, it was only 40 pitches, but 1 run, 2 1/3 innings, 2 hits, a walk, and I think 2 strikeouts. He threw more strikes, 26 strikes in those 40 pitches. So maybe they say, hey, Kumar, come back up. Let's get you a test drive here in the big leagues. Let's get, maybe give him an opportunity to go into the offseason feeling good and knowing what to work on. And that wouldn't surprise me either, because I'd asked Ross Fenstermaker last week, is he, not an option for the big league club? And Ross said, we'll see. So you could take that a number of ways. Like, well, it was before the Astros series too. So it was like, well, if the Rangers win this series and need a hard throwing guy in the bullpen, maybe they could go get Rocker. If this goes off the rails, which we weren't expecting, maybe they need Rocker to make us start at the end of the year. Unfortunately, it's the latter, not the former. So I'd consider that as a possibility, but things are going to be afoot here. The off day tomorrow is going to give the front office and the manager and the pitching coach an opportunity to at least discuss some things. Maybe they already have. Didn't have a chance to talk to Jacob. He was one of the first guys out of the clubhouse today, unfortunately. But I do think he threw his bullpen today, so he'll be ready to pitch. Just not sure if he's going to. So we'll see. Those are some questions that'll have to be answered potentially tomorrow. Maybe that's when the Rangers will go ahead and release their pitching plans against the Twins. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes real well. I'd like to see this team finish above 500. I would like to see Jacob deGrom get 30 starts. I think I would like to see Semien and Seager back, even if it's just for a game. Come back, get in some swings, play a little, get the juices going again, and then head off into the sunset, get ready for 2026. Adolis, not sure we need to see Adolis. I think at this point, I think Alejandro Osuna might actually be more important to the 2026 team than Adolis Garcia at this point. Okay, we'll be back here in a second to wrap it up. Got to do a couple more ad reads for you guys. We'll try to clean some things up. Haven't checked the comments. If you guys have any questions, maybe I can take a look at those and answer those. So stick around. We will be right back. Hey, first up, you have about 6 hours and 35 minutes to take advantage of our ALLCITY warehouse sale. It's 20% off of items. You can get up to 85% off of some items. The Rangers shirts are mostly 20% off, which means that they go from $34.99 to $27.99. I have two that I haven't purchased, and I plan on adding them to my cart right now. Well, not right now, but as soon as we're finished with this show, try to get those into the rotation for the off season, because we are going to do shows 5 days a week in the off season, and it looks like we're still going to be at 1 o'clock. So join us then. But first of all, take advantage of this warehouse sale. It's not just the shirts. There's the sweatshirts. It's not just the Rangers. There's Mavs. There's Stars. There's Cowboys. There's some colleges. There's just the Dallas collection, as we call it. But those shirts are not part of the warehouse sale. Anyway, you do all this at store.allcitynetwork.com, and that's the site you're going to go to when you become a diehard, because you get ding 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 a free shirt with your diehard membership. Scan the QR code or go to alldls.com. There's all kinds of links to get you a membership. $79.99 bargain. That's $6.50 a month. I spent $5.68 at Starbucks today. So cut out Starbucks 1 1/5 times, and you've got your membership paid for. 20% off of our events, 20% off of our merch, and then you get to be smart and cool and tell everybody how much you know just because you are a DLS diehard. All right, let's go before the clean up segment. Kind of going through here. Thanks for all the chats. I figured some of you guys might be watching the Cowboys, but I enjoy seeing the comments and our usuals who are on board. Natalie, you bring up a good point. Today is totally on Jonah. He was horrible on both sides of the ball. I know he came up empty offensively a couple times. I think while we're talking about if we've seen the last of these guys, I think we have seen the last of Jonah Heim. He'll finish out the season. The Rangers need 2 catchers, so he'll catch here this last week. But I don't know that Jonah Heim is a member of the Texas Rangers in 2026. Now, his arbitration number isn't outlandish at all in the grand scheme of things. Probably around 6 to 7 would be my guess based on what he's making this year. But the Rangers can do better. They got Kyle Higashioka for $6.5 last year, or whatever it was, 2 years, $13.5 million. I think he's going to make the majority of that, like 6 or 6.5 this year. They got $6 million out of Kyle Higashioka. Now, can you go find a catcher that you can maybe even save a little money over what you would be paying Jonah through arbitration potentially? And I think the answer is yes. Maybe some mixing and some matching. But while we're on the catchers, what a job by Higashioka. I know he was banged up and the bat was slow to start this year. I think that when all is said and done, we're going to find out that he was hurt basically from the first month on, played with some shoulder stuff, some hamstring stuff. And honestly, once middle June hit, he started stroking the bat and hitting home runs. I think he led the team in home runs in July, if I'm not mistaken. The pitcher seemed to really enjoy throwing to him. He has a better catcher's ERA than Jonah does. So I think that the Rangers are in good hands, at least for 80 or 90 games next year with Higashioka. It's finding the other catcher. Maybe can't be a true backup. I don't know if Kyle Higashioka can catch 110 games But I bet he could catch 80 to 90, and you could find somebody to pencil in for the rest of those. And of course, you always need catching depth. I mean, Tucker Barnhart was on this team for a little while this year, so you're going to need your Tucker Barnharts, your Omar Narvaez's, who are down. Who he's still with Round Rock. Hopefully, he enjoyed his time and would be willing to come in on a minor league deal as a depth and see what happens in spring training. So I think that's one, Natalie, that you've effectively hit the nail on the head. And Missy, I do think 500 is important. Not 81 and 81. I think 82 and 80 is very important. So hopefully that can happen. And then Misty, you also said, the inexperience of the Little Rascals has been exposed. And gosh, this has been such a whirlwind here, and I don't remember. But Merrill Kelly basically, I said that, hit it right on the head. He knows. The veterans know. Tony, the veterans are not stepping up still. Can't blame the young guns. No, you can't blame the young guns. And and I don't know that you can blame like Rowdy Tellez. He's a part-time player, and he's been pretty good. I know a lot of people are on Josh Smith's case, and maybe rightfully so, although he'd had a couple good weeks here, at least from an on-base perspective as the leadoff guy. He sat today. I would imagine he'll be in there Tuesday. Jock Peterson at leadoff. I mean, doesn't matter at this point. Maybe, I'd still put him back at third, though. Third in the batting order. I would not play him at third base, let me tell you. I like Wyatt. Wyatt, hit the home run today. And I've been saying this, and you guys have probably heard it. I'm not sure that these guys who have helped this surge, the Hellmans and the Freemans of the world, Osunas, are everyday ball players in the major leagues. But I really think that Freeman might have a chance. He shows up, he puts the ball in play. The problem is his primary defensive position is third base. So that's spoken for, at least for now, by Josh Young, who's been okay of late too. Maybe he's showing the front office what they've wanted to see from him all season. I do like Freeman, though, being on the team next year. And I like it at the expense, I think, of Ezekiel Duran. Duran hasn't homered this year. He's hasn't really. He had a hot stretch there from, let's say, the last week of August into early this month. That's been about it. I don't know what's happened there. There are some guys though who young or not, and I guess you can call him young still, but he needs the at bats. I think he, more than anybody on this team, needs to have regular at bats, and you just can't get him here. So do you let him start at AAA, but then you bring him up, and what happens? He's not going to replace anybody unless there's a big time injury. So I'm not sure that Zeke is a fit. Of course, he's still under club control contractually, so we'll see how that works out. But there might be a spring training battle at very least between Zeke Duran and Cody Freeman for what may end up being the final roster spot. If Adolis isn't back, is Osuna your everyday right fielder? I don't know. I'm not sure he's ever going to have the kind of power you want. And I don't know that he has the best arm out there, but he is a really good defensive player. You see him make sliding catches every day. Maybe that's because he doesn't get good reads initially. I'm not sure. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can make a bad read look like a great play just by coming in and sliding and bailing yourself out. But you can count on Wyatt being back. I'm pretty sure you can count on Seager being back. Simeon's just would be too hard to trade. And again, there's a lot of respect there. And then one thing that was also brought up, and I think it was Natalie again, what about the manager? Is the manager coming back? And that's a huge question that needs to be answered this week. He is 70. He's had a rough go of it, although you can give him a lot of credit for, you should give him credit for the way he's tried to manufacture runs, maybe not in a baseball, yeah, maybe not with like bunt, maybe not manufacturer, may not be the right run. The way he's tried to generate offense with pinch hitters and playing platoons and trying to find the right matchups at the right time. I know we questioned some decisions in that Monday game at Houston, but you're not dealing with a great hand here. Probably have about a pair of fours, and you don't have trip anything or a straight or a flush. So it's been hard, but he's done a pretty good job. You kind of look at the bullpen, the way it's performed lately, not bad. And, a lot of the things that drove us crazy earlier with like Robert Garcia and believing in him there in that one stretch where he seemed like he couldn't protect the lead or protect anything for that matter. The other night he gave up the home run, which ended like a 12 appearance scoreless streak. So he's bounced back. I do think though that Bochy comes back. I think he has a little leverage. I've never seen that Giants rumor that popped up about a month and a half ago, verified by anybody. I haven't even seen it verified by the guy who's credited with it, Bob Nightingale. But if there is interest or potential interest from the Giants, Bochy can leverage that. He can say, hey, give me enough money so that we don't even listen to the Giants. He could do that. But I think he still wants to manage, Kevin Sherrington, as John and I talked about the other day on the show, had that column about a month ago now. So I think Bochy comes back. But if he, for some reason, on the off day tomorrow decides he doesn't want to or makes his decision, he's got to let the coaches know. Maybe they already know. But, if they're going to be free agents, they need to be able to land jobs. It's a tough market out there to get big league jobs. So anyway, I think that's something that will be resolved this week, and I think Bochy will let the coaches know his decision, and hopefully he lets us know. That'd be nice to know. It'd be nice little story to write here the last couple of days, better than what's going on the field. Tony Chen, even Marcus, I can't say this year of him is any better than 22. His 23 year was good. 22 started off slow, very similar to this year. Then he took off. This year, though, he didn't sustain it. And I think that's kind of the problem. I don't know if he wanted to hit the ball in the air more this year. I don't know that he succeeded with that. He certainly didn't seem to have a lot of juice in the bat. And again, this guy plays so banged up. Maybe there's something we don't know about. So we'll see. I don't know that the contract is tradable. Rangers might have to eat a lot of that. I think they have to go into next year, though, being realistic with where they put him in the lineup. Definitely not the first half of the lineup. I would, maybe six. Start at 6. See what happens. You hope Evan Carter's back. A lot of things we can talk about this week and in the coming weeks on how this 26 roster is going to look like. But it's definitely going to be an interesting offseason. I think there's no question about that. You kind of look around and we've already talked about 2 guys who we don't think will be back. I think you could make a case for the third baseman, the second baseman, the designated hitter not coming back. So it's gonna be interesting to see. We'll have, I'm sure, a lot of talk about clubhouse chemistry, about the manager. That'll be early in the off season. Pro scouting meetings that'll be coming up in October to kind of set the way. The GM meetings, then the winter meetings, and by then everything will be in motion. So we'll see about that. Real quick before we duck out here, only got a minute left, and then a minute is definitely not enough time to talk about Scott Littlefield, who passed away Friday in Houston. He's a Rangers. I think his title is Special Assistant of Player Personnel. He was a scout, all right, and he was a good one, respected across the game. Had a hand on everything, honestly. I saw him scouting at a Dominican workout 10 years ago. All right, so this guy did it all. Great guy, was just with the team in Houston. Looked great, was fun. As always, Scott, talking baseball, laughing. having a great time. Passed away suddenly Friday. A devastating loss for the franchise as far as what he does for him, but also just the kind of person he was. And there are a lot of guys hurting in this front office. I've gotten text messages from most of them. John Daniels, who hired Scott back in 2009. It's a tough time for them right now, but the matter that is a focus for us is what's happening on the field, and it ain't great. All right, so John Radigan, hopefully we'll be in studio tomorrow at 1:00, so we don't have to worry about any audio issues. You don't have to listen to me talk on and on and on and on. I'll at least have somebody else to help. So join us then, 1:00. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Good night.